lost in old ways.
I'm not afraid.
Well, here goes nothing.
Okay, okay. Hello. Hi, hi, hi. Yeah, I'm trying restream.io, and I set it up to stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. I hope that works. Twitch name should be Marcel oder Maus. Should find it there. I hope it works anyway. But I think I can at least switch between the two, like the two identities in the chat window here. Unfortunately, Mann oder Maus was taken already on Twitch, so I had to find a workaround, which brings us to today's topic, I suppose, but not really. Alright, so this is my first time in a long time using OBS, so I hope I got the shortcuts set up correctly. But basically what I want to do today is I want to do a bit of plumbing and maintenance work on a open source project that I maintain. It's called Android JUnit 5. And last few weeks and months have been a bit busy, so I didn't really have the time to like give it a lot of love. But now things have settled down a little bit, and there's a new version of JUnit 5 out. It has been for a couple weeks, and I wanna take this stream to first of all upgrade the plugin so that there's a version for the new JUnit 5 out for the Android developers to use. And then there's also something that I need to take care of, which is related to the test infrastructure, because of like basically some of the integration tests that the plugin uses, it kind of spawns virtual projects which work with different plugin versions of the Android ecosystem, so that I can kind of like have a smoke test that a lot of different versions of the Android plugins work with mine. And the most recent like alpha versions will require a version of the build system that is driven by my functional tests to be downloaded on demand. But I have taken a shortcut earlier where there's like a project template file from which I spawn the virtual projects. And because the build system changed in between the versions, there's a couple of inconsistencies, or like incompatibilities rather. And I have added to the templates kind of conditionals where it says, if the build system of this virtual project is version X, then please put this line in the build script of the virtual project. Otherwise, please use this other one. And to take a shortcut, I just said, if it's like Gradle 6.5, do this. Otherwise, do this. And that worked. But now the latest milestones require Gradle 6.6 and above. But my conditional, it just checks basically for string equality. And I want to introduce some sort of semantic versioning so that I can say, if it's 6.5 or greater, please do this. Otherwise, do this. And that's why am I even showing the browser? And that's why I want to extend the pattern matching that I have to actually understand semantic versioning, which makes it more robust, because I feel like now is a good time to do that. Earlier it was the latest one that we were able to use, and now there's more versions of the Gradle build system that are available, and that's why I want to extend the infrastructure so that it can have a baseline of 6.5 and also newer. That's basically what we have to do. Should be pretty straightforward, but it's a bit of like versioning and like calculating what is a newer version when given two semantic version strings. Shouldn't be too difficult, but first off, I'm gonna upgrade the plugin anyway. Oh yeah, no problem, Teflora. Nice to have you here. All right, let me close down the semantic version stuff first. Let's upgrade. Let's actually try to see like the JUnit 5 should be in version 5.7 now. Yeah. Okay, yeah, released 2 weeks ago. All right. So let's go through the change log here, just so that I am not surprised by any like breaking changes. There shouldn't be any, but any that impact the plugin anyway. Okay, flight recorder sounds interesting, but probably not applicable to Android, I reckon. Isolated tests is interesting. Probably like parallel execution. Oh, by the way, do tell me if the music is too loud, or I am too loud, or it's hard to understand. I'm not sure if I'm hearing the same volume levels as I'm streaming, so if that kind of clashes, please let me know. nice to see that test instance factory is finally stable. That's nice. Same with timeout. It's been a while. That's also a good fix here. That before each inside nested test classes. So this is interesting. Enabled if, disabled if. So like do I give it like the name of a Boolean method or something? Like there used to be some conditional annotations where you just like execute JavaScript, and then if the JavaScript snippet returned true, then the method, like the test, would run, otherwise it wouldn't. And that was removed because it was an odd choice. But now this kind of is back, but it's Java methods now. That's interesting. Okay, cool. That's nice. That is also really nice. Finally, we have suspending assert throws. That's cool. Can remove one or two helper methods that I'm copying around everywhere. Ah, yes, okay. So it's kind of like a resource lock, like similar to a resource lock on the class level, where that class is always going to be run in isolation. Okay, yeah, might be useful. Okay, yeah, and vintage is probably unchanged. Yeah, okay. Good, okay, so should be a straightforward upgrade. Let's go back to the IDE. All right, upgrading the version. I've not touched this project in a good while. Let me just do a find replace. Okay, so I've just confirmed that OBS does not stream the pop-up windows because I've set it to capture only the window. So you gotta bear with me until I hit enter here. Okay, so here's my list of dependencies. All right, so this is now 570.170.570. Okay, what else? Oh, this might be a relic. I don't think I use this anymore. Yeah, I don't. Okay. Okay, so let's Gradle sync here. I'm gonna need to adjust my streaming window just a tiny bit. It's a bit odd to see. Okay, let's do it like this. Or like this, so you can see the Gradle build at the bottom. Okay, yeah, that works. Alright, yeah. Waiting on Gradle sync. Okay, so these are now updated, which is nice. Alright, let's confirm. What was the new thing? Isolated. See if I have isolated here. I sure do. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let us update the deployed version too. So next one will be not 1621 but 1700 snapshot. This one I don't need to touch, that's okay. Alright. Cool, yeah, so I guess all that's left to do really is run the tests and see if they blow up. Which the functional tests will, but that's a different story. I'm gonna disable them, because that's what the semantic versioning is for. Alright. Well, let's run them. My Mac is already struggling pretty hard. Let's see if it really chokes completely. I guess you're about to find out if it's gonna get choppy or not. So I think what I'd also like to do while I'm at it with the maintenance is I think I want to promote the code snippets on the README that use the Kotlin Gradle DSL. I kind of want to promote them to be the default, because right now it's still Groovy and there's like tabs for opening up the Kotlin config. I think I want to switch it around. I think it's about time. And I mean, the Groovy stuff is still there. It's just I kind of want to promote the Kotlin DSL a bit, because even though it's kind of it's a bit frustrating sometimes, but in general I feel like it's a nicer experience. So I think while this is running the tests for JUnit 5.7, I wanna clean this up here and just switch it around. So I got this template file for the README. So I got a Gradle task which will take this template and then generate the actual README, and then it will infuse the latest dependency version so that I don't have to put them in by hand every time. Which is kind of nice. So I'm updating the template file now for the README MD. All right, let's just switch those around. Mark this as open. This is not open. Oh yeah, I forgot that I had my other tests prepared for the thing that I'm about to work on next. Of course, those fail. Thanks, TDD. Crap. Alright, one more. Okay, that'll do. I think that's all of them. right. Yeah, these look good. All right. So what did I call the generate task for the README? I think it's this one. Yeah, well, it's the task called generate README. I guess that makes sense. Alright, yeah, that was quick. So this should have now produced an updated version of the real README file. Let me pull that in here so you can have a look at it. Then let's get this window out of the way. Alright. Oh, this still has... Oh. I think the template is pulling in the latest version. No, plugin version. Yeah, I think this is that variable here. Okay, well, I'm gonna update the README then after I publish the new version, but this now has the Kotlin blocks at the top. And I think the collapsible blocks, that's like GitHub flavored markdown, so that's why it's not rendering in the IDE, but I have the Kotlin blocks marked as open, and that means that they are they're like open and expanded by default. No, this is updated. Oh yeah, okay. So dependencies have updated, of course, but the published version, the latest one, is still 1620, so that's why it hasn't updated yet. But we're gonna do it after, at the end of the stream probably. All right. Okay. Enough README. Now let's actually get on with the semantic version. So let me give some context on why I want this semantic version built for this project. So at the beginning I said that we have some integration tests for the Android JUnit 5 plugin, and that means that basically the integration tests will take a just like a file structure and a template file for a build.gradle, and then from there it will generate different sorts of virtual projects which use different versions of the Android Gradle plugins, and then in turn those Android Gradle plugins will require different versions of the build system of Gradle. And so what this looks like is that in the test source set here, I'm not sure, can I make this bigger? No. In the test resources here, I have a folder called test projects. And then when I open that up, there's like different basically embedded Gradle plugins, embedded Gradle projects, just like the bare bones is just the source code basically, and also a config file, which is just basically saying what I want to assert. So in this project here, this is the product flavors. I'm testing a project that has different product flavors set up for Android. So like we have a free version of an app and a paid version, and they share source code of course, but they have different source sets. So this config file basically says this project uses flavors, it does use Kotlin. What do I expect here? I do expect in the build type debug, in the product flavor free, I expect a test class to be run against this virtual project that I generate from the template with the name Java test. And then I have in debug paid, I have Java test and Kotlin paid debug test, and those correspond to the basically to the file structures here. So these are like different source code files which are expected to be part of a test execution run against the virtual project. So that's pretty much how it works. And the semantic version now comes in when we look at the build Gradle template. So this is basically a build.gradle file with a couple markers. Like think preprocessor statements, but not nearly as sophisticated. So basically, this is saying if in the config file that we just had, if the use Kotlin flag is true, then include this in the generated build file. Otherwise, just don't. And the interesting thing that I want to work on now is this statement here, if Gradle. So I'm setting up the unit tests here, and Gradle 6.5 and newer has a different DSL to generate, like to set up the unit tests. On Gradle 6.5 and newer, you use this API. You say unittests.all, and then basically the Lambda says test.testlogging, and then events, whatever. So if your Gradle is 6.5, then this is how you have to set up the unit tests. Otherwise, and this goes back to the case, my generator looks at what's the Gradle version. Is it 6.5? Okay, I'm emitting this piece of code. Otherwise, I emit this piece of code. And then the end marker basically says, okay, this is now a kind of joined unit and I'm done with this piece of logic, conditional logic. Now the thing is, when I built this, the latest version was 6.5 and the latest Android Gradle plugins required 6.5. So that's why I took the shortcut and said, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna check if the Gradle version is actually the string 6.5, then I will emit this block. Otherwise, I'll emit this block down here. Now the problem is, there's newer versions now, and I knew that when I wrote the 6.5 thing, of course, but at the time, I opted for the shortcut. And now that there's Android Gradle versions, Android Gradle plugins that require 6.6, this doesn't work anymore because it just compares hard-coded against the string 6.5. And Gradle 6.6 of course fulfills that requirement, but this preprocessor like generator thing, it doesn't really understand that yet. So that's why I want to build a really quick and small engine that can understand basically semantic version numbers in the format that Gradle emits them, and basically makes it so I can compare them and then say, is this version newer or older than this other version? And there's of course libraries for that, but the thing is that the Gradle versioning scheme doesn't really fulfill the standard semantic version, I guess. I mean, they do have major, minor versions, but especially their suffixes, they have like dashes in them, and I kind of don't want to mess with trying to force an official library to do that, so I'd rather just write the algorithm myself. So we're gonna build a quick thing that takes a string like this, 6.5, and it converts it into a number. And then when I have a different string with like 6.6, it turns that into a number, and then I can compare the numeric values of these two. And then I know, oh, the 6.6 value, it's greater than the 6.5 value, so that means 6.6 is a newer version. And that's pretty much how I'm gonna approach this. Oh, hi, C-True. Good to have you here. All right, so I have prepared this already. Not yet sure if I want to go with numbers this big. Basically, the thing is, it would be kind of straightforward to just map this 5.0 into a numeric value. Oh, you can barely see it. Thanks, chat window. Okay, that's a bit better. Let me scroll a bit. No, I can't. All right. Let me hide the chat for a bit. Okay. So that would be pretty straightforward if we just had 5.0, 6.6.1. Can kind of compare it and say like, okay, we have major version, and then in the middle there's minor version, and then at the end there's patch version, right? That's semantic versioning. So you could say, okay, I'm taking the 1, and then I'm taking the 6 in the middle, and I multiply that by like 100. So we have 600 plus 1, and then at the start we have another 6 for the major version. So we just multiply that by, I don't know, 10,000. So we have, so we'd have for this version 6.6.1, we'd have 60,000 for the major version, plus 600 for the minor version, plus 1 for the patch version, giving us like 60,601. And then if we had another version, which is like, I don't know, 6.7.2, we can do the same math and figure out, okay, we have 700 and we have 2, giving total of 60,702, and that's bigger than the other one. So we know that 672 is a newer version than 661. Now that works, and that is kind of the basis of what I want to of how I want to approach this. But the thing is, we have these suffixes, and they make things a lot more complicated. So the Gradle versioning suffix scheme kind of is like this. So we have the version, major minor or major minor patch, and then a dash, and then RC or alpha. I think they sometimes do alpha, maybe not. So like RC, and then another dash, and that's another kind of unusual thing, and then a revision. So we have 800 RC1, release candidate 1. Now what does that mean? We have like 800 RC1. Okay, so we have 80,000. And then 0 for the minor part. And then another 0 for the patch part. But what about the RC? Yes, this is for updating a program. So I'm working on a open source project, which is a bit overdue. I have neglected it for a bit, and there's this is basically a connecting point between Android environments and the JUnit 5 infrastructure, which is a framework for testing applications. So when you build a piece of software, you want to write tests for it so that you don't have to write tests by hand. Or don't have to test by hand. You can write another program that will test your original code for you. And this is basically the integration point between Android and JUnit 5. And there's a newer version of JUnit 5 out. It's been around for like 2 weeks now. And I want to update my integration point to use the newest things pretty much. And that requires me to update a couple other things which now need updating because I cannot... I want to keep the confidence in the code that I have wrote. So I'm updating my own tests so that I can test the newest thing pretty much. Hope that answers your question. So this RC part here at the end is a bit wonky. I think I know how I want to approach this, and it's not the thing that I just wrote out before I started thinking about it more thoroughly. I think I want to have the suffix part as its own number, because otherwise these numbers would get kind of big. So in this scheme here, it would be 8 for the major part, and then 2 zeros for the minor part, and then another 2 zeros for the patch part. And then I assigned RC, beta, and alpha, 3 more of these digits basically. So this would be the RC digits, and this is the first RC. This is the 0th beta, and this is the 0th alpha. But that's kind of like a large number. So that's what is it like? I don't know. That's it's 80 billion. And computers can handle that, obviously, but I'm not sure that I want to do that. I think I'm just gonna put that in a second number and have a number for the stable part and then a number for the suffix part. I think that's better. And also I can do with integers. I don't need to use long then. Okay, so let's update the test logic first. I'm gonna make these not disabled anymore. Zoom out a little bit. Yeah, my Mac is a bit chugging with OBS on the side, but hope it's not lagging or anything. For you anyway, for me it kind of is, but that's fine. Alright, so if I run these tests, then obviously they are gonna fail because I haven't written any code yet. So I'm gonna update my test input now. So I think it's reasonable to assume that a semantic version for every component that it has will not go beyond 99. So that's why I think that it's okay to multiply by 100 pretty much. So meaning that if I had a version like, I don't know, 99.5.67, which is kind of outrageous already, then that would be, like what would that be? Let's see. So it would be 99,500 for the minor, and then 67 at the end. But now I'm thinking, what about 99.15? Maybe I need to multiply by 1,000. Hold up. So does this need to be... Yeah, I need to allocate 2 digits per. Okay. So it's gotta be like this. So this would be the math that we would do. So it's like 991,567. So yeah, I think it's reasonable to assume that Gradle is not gonna exceed version 100 before this project is retired. I really hope so, anyway. So let's do that then. So given, actually let me use that as an outrageous test case. Might as well put it at the bottom here. So for this input, I would, I'm expecting this numeric value for the stable part and 0 for the patch part, because there's nothing. Oh, I haven't upgraded to Kotlin 1.4 yet. Okay, well. So yeah, there's no beta, no alpha in this version. So the suffix part is 0. Okay, let's go through the others real quick. So this would be 050000, and we cannot have leading zeros, so this would be 50,000. And this would be 060601. And then this would be, we have an alpha here, so this would be 060600. And then the suffix part would be, I'm doing something similar. I'm assuming that there's not more than 99 alphas or betas or RCs. So I am guessing that it would be safe to assume, yeah, we had that already. So that would be 60,000. Wait, hold on. That's not right. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. And then for the alpha part, I would be mapping alpha to like the last 2 digits of this 6-digit number. And this would be beta, and this would be RC. Sinya, the RC stands for release candidate. It's basically the next step after a beta, but before a stable version. It's like one more step in the process. And I know that the versions that we are gonna have to deal with, they do use that suffix. I think it's maybe in the area that I work with, but it's less common than like a beta or an alpha, but it does happen. And in fact, the newest version of the build system is 6.7 RC1. So that's a case that we do need to handle. So this would be a 1 here at the end. Yeah, I'm not sure if they release RCs for like games on Steam. Maybe like internal builds. That might be a thing, but probably not. It's probably going to be more common to have like a beta on Steam. Or like early access. There's like EAP also, but Gradle doesn't use that, so I don't care about it. So 6. So this one is also 60600, but it has a 12 at the end because it's alpha 12. In fact, I wanna also make a case where I compare a stable one against an alpha build of the same thing. Oh. Wait, hold on. That might be a problem. So if I have like 661 alpha 1, that's a version that is older than 661 because that one comes after alpha, pretty much. But the thing is, this one would get a 1 in the suffix part, and this one has a 0 in the suffix part. But on the other hand, beta 1 would be 100. It's like 0, 0 for RC, 0, 1 for beta, 0, 0 for alpha. That one should be newer than alpha, but it should also not be newer than stable 661. Okay, yeah, that works. In that case, we are gonna assume that the stable versions will have a suffix like integer number, but it's bigger than anything that an RC or a beta or an alpha could ever produce. So I'm thinking that I'm just using the maximum value that an integer can hold. It's like 2 billion. And I'm gonna say if a version does not have a suffix at all, then I will make its suffix like numerical value the biggest it can be. Which is, yeah, 2 billion, like that famous number. The Gangnam Style, oh yeah, 2 billion views, that kind of number, 2147. In that case, it's good that I made these test cases here. All right, let's update, because I think now we have caught everything. So this is 070001, and then 0001, no, 0500. And this is the same stable number, and it is also 500. This is just a different way of writing beta 5. This is not something that Gradle would do, but that the Android plugin would do. And I want to catch both just in case. I do need to use the semantic version for Android related stuff in the future. So this is 80,000. This is 010000. Multiplying it with a negative value. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Just like if you were to multiply this with anything, then you would get like either an overflow exception because the value is too large or too small. In the context of semantic versioning, we can assume that the versions are like monotonically increasing and there's no like alpha -1. So I think it's okay to keep this to addition when we like multiplication to compose these integer numbers, and then addition for the individual components of that. So this is the same thing. And then this is 110403. Let's actually make this. We didn't have a 2-digit RC yet, so might as well. 100000. Okay. And then the weird number, we already had that, but it's stable, so we have to give it int max value. Okay. Yeah, I think this is my test battery for the beginning. Gonna add my new parameter here now. So this is expected stable, and this can be an int. And then we have expected suffix, I suppose, or like unstable. Preview, expected preview version, pre-built. I think suffix is okay. Okay, so we have the actual value that's being computed. Actually, I might make this a class. Right now it's just a function that will return the numeric value like verbatim, but I think I'm gonna wrap this in a class so that it can be extended in the future. So might as well do a class called semantic version here, and then this will take a, let's not make it a val yet, a version string, and then it will do something here to like calculate these numbers pretty much. So I'm gonna change this to say it's a semantic version now of input. And then when I do actual stable value is equal to expected stable. And then I also want to assert that the suffix value of this number is the expected suffix. Yeah, I guess that works. And then let's add the two numbers here. So we have stable value, it's going to be an int, and then suffix value is also an int. Okay. Right, so I think we can now move into this class and actually do the calculations. I'm gonna do an init block here. And I'm going to, I mean, I have started something down here, but I am not sure if I want to keep it because this already doesn't really work for the Gradle RC. No, that doesn't work. I think I'm going to rewrite it. All right, so we have version. Version is like 5.5.0, right? So first up, like, let's have two here, version 1 and then version 2. The only difference is this is a alpha version. So I think the first check is okay. We're splitting the semantic version into components for the stable portion of the number. So we will split that into the stable part and the suffix part. And we're gonna do, I'm not sure how that, no, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm gonna do it the other way. So if there's a dash, that doesn't work? Yes, it does. Okay. So if there's a dash in the version somewhere, then we assume it has a suffix. Otherwise, it doesn't. So we can say that suffix value, if it has a dash, we're going to do something. If it doesn't, then the suffix value is already the max value, not a preview version. Use highest possible suffix value to be newer than any preview could be. Okay, if it does have a suffix, like a dash, then we will need to split it. And we need to extract the end part. I'm probably gonna pattern match with a regular expression on this, even though I'm not fancy about it, but it should be okay. So I guess we need to split it first, and we do already know that there is a. Oh, might as well use char. already know that there's at least one dash in it. So we access the second component of this. And suffix, I guess. And then the suffix is gonna be pattern matched against find, I guess, known suffix types using. Actually, I'm not sure if I want to do regular expression, because even if I have like a pattern matcher for like alpha, beta, and RC, it's kind of like a lot of duplicated logic. I think I just want to check if the words alpha, beta, or RC are in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the suffix. So this would be, I'm not sure if it includes the dash in front. Might need to check. So this is like the string alpha1 for the second part. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna force a lowercase, and that will give me one more idea for a unit test, because I want to see that I can write alpha however I like. I can write it capitalized and it should still catch it, because this forces it to be lowercase, and then I can check it against the lowercase version. So when the word alpha is part of the suffix, then we know there's an alpha build. When there's a beta in the suffix, we know something else. When there's an RC in the suffix, we know the third thing. Otherwise, we throw an exception. We say we don't know what that is. Okay, so what do we do with this? I guess the logic is always the same. We have this word here, and then we also have a number at the end. And then the significance of that number depends on the word. So I think that we're just gonna have a kind of like a suffix multiplier. And then the value for this is gonna depend on what kind of preview thing we have. So the suffix multiplier for an alpha is 1. Because if you have alpha 1, then that means that in the end you're gonna get just a 1. When you have beta, I think we just use 100, because if you had beta, I don't know, 12, that would be in our scheme over here in the tests, that would be 0, 0 for RC, 1, 2 for beta, 0, 0 for alpha. And that would be 1200. And that is 12 times 100. And then for RC, we just use 10,000. I think that works. And then what we do is we assign the suffix value to the suffix multiplier. Oh, we need to get the numerical value part first. Shit. Okay, we do need regex then. Okay. I want to extract the numerical part using a regular expression, and then we'll feed that in here. Austin, yeah, that's good to hear. Let me know if you have any questions, if I can clarify anything. I'd be happy to. So, regular expression. So this is just a plain old numerical regex, and that should be okay to do. No, Kotlin has a regex class now. Yes. Should be a fairly easy. Wait, no. There's a from literal function now. How do you use this? Is it like this? Yeah, I don't know. So this is the regular expression to get digits out of text. But I'm not sure if this API works like this, because I don't want to... Usually you have to, when you write this, that doesn't really work. It says like the backspace is always a special character. So you'd have to escape the backspace with another backspace. And then it would look like this, which actually is not that bad. Actually, it's not that bad. Let's keep it like that. So I think this is already okay. So let's find the find numerical value of suffix. I already have a variable now named suffix value though. It's annoying. Well, numerical suffix, I don't know. So this is numerical regex. I guess find. Again, I'm sorry that there's like a pop-up window in my IDE which is not shown on stream because I'm just capturing the root window and nothing that's on top of it. So I do apologize, but as soon as I select something, then it shows up. So I'm gonna look through just suffix and I'm gonna find whatever I can. Then if I do find something, then I guess I'm just gonna access the last value I have. Is there no last on this? Oh, there is, okay. And then I'm converting that to an integer. And then if any of that doesn't work, I'm gonna throw an exception. Like this is a super ugly line right here. Unknown suffix, yeah, just same message really. Oh, actually, unknown numerical suffix value for version. Let's say here unknown suffix category. I'm gonna write some tests as well that for like the negative cases for like unsupported formats that we don't recognize, so that we also test, yeah, the stuff that doesn't work. Okay, so we have numerical suffix and suffix multiplier. So here at the end we can multiply them. And then this is finally the result of this entire if here. And this result will get put into suffix value because we say suffix value equals if this happens, then run this entire block. And the last thing that's in here, that's what's actually gonna be fed into suffix value. Else, if it's not a suffix, then just give it the maximum value possible. Yeah, I think this is already okay for the stuff that we have. So why don't we comment out the test that checks the stable value and just checks the suffix. Let's see if that already works. Okay, it did not. It threw up at one of the inputs. It threw up at 661 alpha 1. And it said unknown numerical suffix value for version 661 alpha 1. Okay. Let's see. You're saying how many updates are we talking about with regards to like the testing library that I'm integrating with? Or what update cadence are you referring to? Okay, so something in here didn't work. It's probably gonna be the regex, honestly. Let's do just a quick debug here. Actually, let's run the debugger itself. Might as well. So I'm checking if the version equals 661 alpha 1. I think this works. Right, does this not work? Yeah, I think this should work. Alright, let's try. So I want to make this breakpoint only halt execution when the version variable holds the number that the test failed against. Yeah, the ones that will be administered through your program. I understood that there's a base that is going to be updated to other intertwined programs. Did I catch that correctly? Yes, yes, you did. That's exactly right. So I guess the update cadence is not too short. So there have been a couple months in between, like the last version and this newer one. So 5.0 came out September 13, just 2 weeks ago. And the version before that, I think it was like in March or something. April, yeah. The last one was April 10. And just to be fair, it doesn't require me to update my stuff immediately. So the users of my code could use the latest version of my stuff and upgrade this dependency to the latest version without any problem. And that's the case most of the time. So in general, there's no like breaking changes where something doesn't work at all anymore. It's just that I would like to be up to date as much as possible, and then when there is a new version, I would like to match that as closely as I can. And also I wanna run the tests. I wanna actually verify that something is like everything is still all right. And that's why I try to be like on my best behavior when it comes to like keeping up with the changes. But in general, that's also a good thing about the semantic version. So we have like we've had 5.6.2, so major 5, minor 6, patch 2, and then it got upgraded to 5.7.0. So the 5 is still the same, the major is still the same, and then the minor was upgraded. That usually means that like there were new features, but there are no breaking changes, pretty much. Like you could just upgrade and it should work the same. And of course there's like caveats to that, but in general you can just safely upgrade. Now when they would release JUnit 6, for instance, just like 6.0.0, that's usually the indicator, okay, something is going to be broken, you will need to upgrade, you will need to do some work, there are breaking changes, and that's why this entire concept of semantic version exists in the first place. So you upgrade the major version if there is a breaking change for your users. You upgrade the minor version if there's a new feature, but people that don't care about it don't need to care about it. And there's patch versions, the third number, you increment that for like bug fixes pretty much. At least that's how like the mantra of semantic version is supposed to work. And then you have some Android libraries that will just upgrade the patch version and everything breaks. So it's just a guideline, I suppose. But the JUnit team is really sticking closely to that mantra, and that's what makes it fun to work against. All right, the debugger has returned. So we have numerical suffix here. So we have suffix. Suffix is alpha 1. Okay. Oh, you cannot even see the expression editor. That's annoying. Okay, I'm going through this long line in blue and I'm seeing where it fails. So I'm checking the numerical expression right now. And it cannot find it. Okay, got it. So it is in this long line. This part already doesn't find a result. So something is amiss here. So let's see, from literal, how's this different again than the real one? Returns a regular expression that matches the specified literal string literally. Okay, so I guess this would match 2 backspaces and then the letter D and then a plus or something. So let's just use the regular regex then. Pattern. Okay, this looks a bit better. It's like yellow now, that's cool. Yeah, boo for the Android libraries. They've gotten better. Like the kind of like the angst that I was just emitting, that stemmed from a couple years back. They've been better, but especially like the Google Play services and Firebase libraries, they still have the occasional case of, okay, here's a patch version which introduces all these features. But in general, it has gotten much better. All right, so I changed the regex to like this pattern, and now I think this is this was the alpha 1 thing. Let me actually, because these tests are not really readable, doesn't really know what value this was testing. So what we can do in JUnit 5 is we can give this thing a name. And I forgot, because I haven't done this in a couple of weeks. I forgot what the pattern is. Is it like curly braces? I think it's curly braces. So you can have check, no, input equals, and then you use kind of this placeholder, and that should embed the value of this variable in that string. I think that's how it works. And then just do an arrow, and then, I don't know, should be stable equals first parameter, and then suffix second parameter. Or like parameter at index 2. Third parameter, technically. Yes, I have seen things. I am the dog in the meme that has seen things when it comes to the old Android library. I guess, how do you call it? Etiquette. All right, I want to see which of the versions fails the test now. Okay, that didn't work. So that's still the old format. So let me do it another way. Let me do it with this annotation, because it pretty much does the same thing, but I think on a higher level, which hopefully my IDE will understand. Yes, there is a subreddit for these kinds of experiences. There's a meme subreddit on Reddit, obviously. That's a shocker. It's called Android Dev, and it's full of memes. They usually advertise Flutter all the time. Which, how does this not work? Okay, well, I guess my IDE is just bonked. It will not reflect this name. Well, I know that there's a open issue. I actually know that because I subscribe to that issue. How do I find this quickly now? I think this was raised against Gradle. Hold on. I cannot find it right now. It's whatever. Okay, but we do know we just need to click on the red one. Okay, it did. Oh, it did. Okay, it didn't work for the capitalized one. That's surprising. Flutter is a cross-platform app development framework, which has been in the works for a while. So that kind of means you write code and it can be deployed to iOS phones and Android phones with little to no change. And as with many things, that sounds better on paper than in reality, because there's like other caveats with that, where sometimes, oh, it doesn't work on these phones and it does work on these other phones. But yeah, Flutter is one of the efforts to like to kind of ale with the kind of the pain that has come over time with the Android platform, which has been like over 10 years around now. And it uses another programming language, not the one that we use right now. And it's being heavily pushed by one branch of Google at the moment. And yeah, people like it, people hate it. It's cool, but the meme subreddit is all over it because they think it's the cure to all the problems, obviously. And that's why I brought it up. Okay, so it didn't like the capitalized alpha, which is odd because I force it to be lowercase here. So maybe that's unrelated. It does say unknown numerical suffix value. Huh. Oh, you know what? I think... Yes. Yeah, okay. It's unrelated to the capitalization. This is the first version that has another dash before the number. And I thought that was okay because I use find here. And find should just yield the part, because with this format here, the like \d plus, it should find in a string that has like a lot of text and then also a number, it should only match that part of the text. So that's what I thought was gonna happen anyway. Okay, yeah, breakpoint time. Let's update my breakpoint here to halt when I'm at that version. And debug again. All right, here we are. There's the version. Program execution is halted. So I'm pulling up the editor again, with which I can just inspect the code while it's running. Let me see if the regex passes. It does not. That is really weird. Okay, so what is regex value then? Oh. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so here's what's happening. Let me get rid of these. So for the input 66 alpha 1, it goes here and it checks, is there a dash in the version? Which there is, there's even 2, which is the problem actually. So it goes in this if here, and then it splits this entire thing into a list, and it splits it on dash. So it will create a list with 3 items in this case: 66, alpha, and 1. And what we do then is we take the second element and we convert that to lowercase. So we take the alpha and we convert it to lowercase. So in the suffix variable, there's just the word alpha. There's no numeric, like that 1 is basically in a different part of the list because it was behind another dash. For the other versions that worked, because those were like 50 alpha 1, no additional dash. And that got split into 50 alpha 1. So when I take the second element and I force it to lowercase, this is what I get. And in here, I have the number, of course, but in here I don't. So my obvious mistake here is it's not the second number that I need to, the second part that I need to check, but it's everything after the first one. So I need to discard everything before the first dash, throw that away. And then everything else is what I'm going to work with for the rest of this branch. So I'm going to not split this, but I am going to, actually, I'm going to substring after last. No, not after last, substring after first. So the substring after the first dash, I convert that entire thing to lowercase, and that should work. Okay, and while that runs, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back. All right. So this came back and it was all green. Perfect. So we know that the suffix value calculation is okay, which is good to know. And honestly, it's kind of the harder of the two parts. I do really want to make this a bit nicer. I don't like the init block being so large, so I think I am going to make this a function up here. I'm just gonna say string extract suffix value or something like that, and then this will basically take this entire thing, put it in here. Probably put that at the bottom below this class. And then I can get rid of this. And then here I can say we just make this version.extract suffix value. And this is an int returning function. And this is then not version, but this, because we use the receiver now. And this is also this is also this, and this is return, and this is also return. And it's probably going to prompt me to pull that up. Oh, it's not. Okay. I think I prefer not to pull it up. Okay, cool. So this should still work. And then we are going to do a similar thing for the stable part of the version. Okay, let's see. Cool, that works. Okay, yeah, let's do something similar. Let's do version.extract stable value. And then below this, we are going to have another private function on string extension function extract stable value, returning an int. Does nothing at the moment, but we will make it do something. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is, given any version, and that could be any of these, we're just gonna discard everything after and including the dash. The first dash that we see and everything after it, get rid of it. And then with the rest, we're working. Yeah, I think that works. I'm not sure if I want to support. I'm not sure if I want to support varying numbers of components, because there's like versions like this, which only have 2 numbers, which this is major, this is minor, and that's fine. This is like 3 numbers. There's also non-standard ones, like the ones I use for my plugin, which has 4 components, 1, 6, 2, 0. I'm not sure if I want to be this extensible right now, because that would make the calculation of stable a bit more difficult, of the stable portion, a bit more tedious. I think I'm not gonna do that right now. I think I'm going to throw an exception and add something to the tests for that. Because Gradle and Android Gradle plugin, they don't use 4 components. They use... Well, Gradle uses 2 or 3. Android Gradle plugin always uses 3. And I doubt that that's gonna change in the future. So I think I'm going to do another shortcut. And if anything, that is the setup for another stream in a couple months where I say the exact same thing, where I took a shortcut a couple months earlier and now I pay the price. All right, let's assume that this is not a thing that we care about. All right, so what we're gonna do is we strip off anything after the first dash. So we get the substring before the dash. I know, foreshadowing. We gotta set up the SQL somehow. The setup of this MCU, M standing for mano da mouse in this case. Okay, so substring before. Stripped is now only the numeric part. And what we can do is honestly just split it by period, by full stop. Stripped, we have split, which would just be strip.split on period, on dot. And that is a list of string. Might as well map this to int. So that we have list of int, because we do need the numbers anyway. I will so I'm thinking I want to be prepared for a version like 2.0, or like, actually let me 0.2, which is ridiculous and it won't happen. But I think I still want to guard against it, because for this version, this part would throw an exception, because the toInt function will try to make text into a number, but that only works if it's a numeric value. And it would throw on the word 0. So I think it's a bit annoying, but I think that is a thing that I am going to do. So let's do toInt or null. Let's actually make it like this. Otherwise, if it cannot do that, throw illegal argument exception. And then what do we say here? Unknown stable value for version this. So now we have a list of int, and we know it's guaranteed to only have valid stuff in it. And it could be 1, 2, or 3 values. So now I want to see, I still want to safeguard against a version like this, because this will work in this variable, but I still want to throw because the assumption doesn't work. The like combining of values wouldn't work. So I want to check if in this list we have more than, or actually let's do require. We require that the split size, like the number of elements in split, must be equal to or less than 3. Otherwise, unsupported number of components for version this. So another exception if that happens. Now that does mean that we can support a version like this, 6 alpha 1, no period whatsoever. But I think that's okay. It won't happen. We could extend it so that like split size must be greater than 1. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, we can do it like this. So if it's 2 or 3, then we do it. Otherwise we don't. Actually, let's do that. It's fine. Okay, so we have that. So split has 2 or 3 values. How do we compose it now? How do we add it together? So the first number is always the major one. The second one is always the minor one. And the third can exist or it cannot. And it will be the patch version. So let's just do add up the components with the patch component being optional. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first one. We know that this thing has at least 2 values, so it can safely get the first one here without crashing. We just get the first one times 10,000 plus the second one. We also know that that's there, plus 100, and then plus, it's gonna be a bit ugly. I might want to refactor this after. And then plus if split size is 3, no, if it's bigger than 2, we have split.2, otherwise 0. So this is like major version, minor version, and then patch version if it exists. I think that's it. Honestly, I think we are good to go. Let's run it. Oh, actually, no, let's not run it because I have to enable the assertion. Otherwise, I won't test what we just built. Now let's run it. Perfect. That works. It all went through. That's always a bad thing when you write something and you test it and it immediately is green. That's always suspicious. So what I'm going to do is I want to make it fail on purpose. And I want to see if it catches that. It's always a good practice. Never trust a passing test on the first run. No, I might not have lost. Best case scenario, I already have one. I just want to make sure that I have one. Because if this now throws... Yeah, it does. Okay. I just verified that I'm doing the right thing by intentionally doing the wrong thing and expecting a failure. So here we can see this test here. Let me go back here. So for this version here, I changed it so the stable version comes out to this. And the real thing should have been this, like 0.8 for major, 0.0 for minor, 0.0 for patch. And the test for this particular case failed because it expected this, because that's what I wrote here, but it was actually 80,000, which is the actual real value. But I wanted to force a failure in order to know that the code was doing the right thing. It sounds kind of paradox, but I always like to do that kind of thing. Because otherwise you just see the green arrows and you'd be like, okay, I'm done, close the file. And then a couple of weeks down the line, something does go wrong in this test. But it's probably unrelated to what you did before because you weren't doing the real tests in the first place. Okay, so that looks good. I'm gonna brush up the semantic version class a little bit. I'm gonna give it a bit of documentation here. I think that works. This is not public code. This is just from my own test infrastructure. And that's why I am... I wanted to add a little comment. All right. We're going to make this class a little bit nicer to deal with. We're going to make it implement the, not comparator, comparable... the comparable interface, which allows us to compare an object of this class against another. So we can actually say, basically we can say semantic version 5.0, and then we can use the actual greater than sign and say this object is greater than 4.4. And that will work because we do comparable here, which is really nice. And same goes for less than, not equal, equal, that kind of thing. So in here, what do we do? So we have two versions at hand. What do? We have like 5.0 and the other one is 5.0 alpha 1. So we check the stable part first. If the stable part is different, then we already know which one is the more recent one, the bigger one, pretty much. If they're the same, then we compare the suffix. Only then do we compare the suffix. Okay, so I forgot if there's in compare in Kotlin. I think I just do compare to on the int. So if stable value, no, result. We compare the stable value of ourselves, this object. We compare that to, yeah, that works, to the other one's stable value. This will be an integer. It will be 0 or -1 or +1. And I always forget which one is which. 0 means they're the same. -1 means, I think -1 means we are less than the other, and +1 means we are more than the other, but I could be wrong about that. We will verify that with a test. So if it is 0, then stable part is equal, so compare the suffix, pretty much. Compare the suffixes. So in this case, we can just return this dot suffix value compared to other suffix value, pretty much. Otherwise, it was already different, so we might as well return that result. Okay. The stable version of ourselves sounds like something from an Instagram post. Oh yeah, totally. Just throw that throw that on top of like a blurry beach photo with like a bokeh in the background, and just like a you know the typeface, like that typeface. Yeah, that kind of thing. Totally. All right. So we are going to extend this test class now. I want to add the negative tests, and I want to add the tests that check comparison. So let us do just that. So we're gonna rename this method here. So this is now the data for... Actually, I want to rename this method entirely. Parses or parse stable, no, parse version into stable and suffix parts correctly. I'm using the Kotlin backticks here, so I can use spaces in my method name, which makes it read a bit nicer. We could do that with display name as well, but alas, it doesn't work in my IntelliJ for some reason. Okay, so this is data for parsing, data parse tests. And then I'm connecting that to the method source, which is how this method knows that this data belongs to it. And we're gonna do more tests below here. Parameterized test, my favorite of the tests. Compares versions correctly. So we get version 1, just string. Version 2, just string. I could make this actually semantic version right away, but I think I would need to write a converter. And I'm not sure if I want to do that right now. Data compare 2. Up here, JVM static, because we're in Kotlin. Data compare 2. It's a list of a bunch of more arguments. So let's compare two obviously different ones. So like 440572. And we expect that the result is... So we compare it from the perspective of the first version. So I think, and again, I'm not sure, I can never remember how compare to's return value works, but I think this is -1 because this is less than this. Could be wrong, not sure. So let's compare 440 against a different minor of the same major, and that should be still less than. Let's compare 442 against 441. Should be more than 441. Let's compare 440 alpha 1 against 440 alpha 5 with a different, like, there's no dash here. And that should be less than. Alpha 5 is newer. Let's compare 440, let's actually do 7.2 alpha 4 against 7.2 beta 6. Should be less than. Okay, let's do one in the other way around. Let's do 7.4 beta 2 against 7.5. Okay, let's do 7.3 beta 1. No, I wanna check something else. I wanna check that. Yeah, I wanna check that this. I wanna check that this is the first beta of its kind, and this is the second beta of its kind. But this thing is still older than this, even though the suffix is larger. So this should be 1. Let's compare. Let's compare stable against its beta. 8.0. That's it. Against 8.0.0 alpha 2. Should be bigger. Let's compare 2.5 against 2.5.0. Should be the same thing. Let's compare I think I got most of them. I'm going to do a preview against stable check from the other side. 4.2 RC 50 against 4.2. Should be less than. And then one more. 4.2 RC 50, 4.2.1 RC 50 compared against 4.2. It is the newer version. Okay. Yeah, I think this is okay. I think this is enough. So we have this, and then expected result is an int, and we do the actual result is version 1. No, semantic. Let me actually try making this a semantic version right away. I'm not sure if that works. No, there you go. Assert that actual result equals expected result. All right, let's try. Okay, it did compare correctly, so I think this is okay. Let me verify this with the actual documentation of Java. I want to see. All right. Okay, here. Int compare. As soon as you're ready. Are you kidding me? Okay, cool. Thanks. Do I really need to type this in again? Okay. Okay, int compare, where is it? Can I search even with the cookie pop-up? Compare to. Okay. So integer compare to returns 0 if this integer is equal. A value less than 0 if this integer is numerically less than the argument, and a value greater than 0 if this integer is numerically greater. Okay, works. So we had the right idea. Good. Cool. Yeah, let's do some negative tests, and then I want to see if I can manage the time to actually include that in my build script generator. Okay, a couple of negative tests that I want to see work. Let me split this. And let me hide the chat real quick so you can see everything. So let us do another set of data. Data incorrect input. List off. So for a version that's just a 2, we expect the value, what was it? Unsupported number of components for version 2. Okay, we're gonna hash out a couple more of these. So we're gonna do a 1620, and that should yield the same thing. Let's do one with the weird text in the middle. That should be unknown stable value for version 2.06. I don't wanna duplicate these in the exception method message. Just gonna replace it with a placeholder. Okay, arguments off. Okay, let's try 1.5 preview for unknown suffix category for version. And same goes for a version like 3.0.2 dash 3. We don't know what that is. Same thing. Okay, numerical suffix is the one that's missing. So we had earlier a thing that broke. Oh yeah, there was a just alpha without any other number at the end. So numerical suffix value for version S. Yeah, I think that's all the things that I can... Well, I mean, we can obviously do a thing like 1.2, something that doesn't even have a single dot in it. And that should throw an unstable value, I think. And same goes for 1.2 dash alpha 1. Okay, so let's do these. Now get rid of this. Throws on incorrect inputs. And we get a version. Oh yeah, actually it could just infer the semantic version object. That's cool. It didn't throw up. It's really nice. Expected error string. Okay, in here I do need to now hold on to the val for, like, I do need to access the string. So when I do exception, we assert, oh actually, hold on, missing some annotations here. Method source incorrect input. And we assert that the following block throws an exception. And I think that's an illegal argument exception. Doesn't really matter which one it is, but... And then the block itself is... Oh, no, hold on. I cannot make this an object right away, because creating the object will throw already. In that case, I don't need the val. So creating the semantic version object with this input will throw an exception. And then we assert that this is nullable. Not sure, is it? No, I don't think it is. Because it will throw itself, yeah, okay. Okay, so assert that exception has a message that is equal to the expected error formatted with the version. This part is where we replace the placeholder here with the version itself. I didn't want to copy them every time. Okay, let's try this. It's almost too easy. It's weird. I wanna do another test of like intentionally failing it, because I think this is correct, but I still wanna make sure that this now throws an error on one of the cases. It should say, oh, you said that this is supposed to throw an error, but it didn't. Let's see. Yeah. So it expected this error to be thrown, but nothing was thrown. Okay, cool. That concludes the test cases for this thing. Which means we can finally go and put it in to the place where I wanted it in the first place, like 2 hours ago. So I have this method here, semantic version value of version. And wherever that is used, I want to replace it with the new thing that we built. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need it anymore. So in here, this is why I built this entire thing. So this class is responsible for taking a template file. And this is a template file that will generate a virtual project. So I kind of pretend that I have a project upon which I apply my plugin. And this virtual project I then use to check if the tests are set up correctly, if the integration between Android and JUnit 5 works. And I have these like set up so that I can spawn a lot of them, basically, because I need to check a lot of different versions of the build system, of the plugins themselves. And that's how I use that. So the build script, the instruction set of how to build this project, it has a couple of markers that I have. And because in between the build system versions, some things change. Things changed how you set up the same thing. And I only wanted to have one single template file. So I included this if Gradle statement here. And this says if the Gradle version of the virtual project is 6.5, and that implies 6.5 or greater than 6.5. If that is the case, then please put this in the build script. Otherwise, and this else goes back to this if they belong together, otherwise emit this thing at the same position in the build script. And then end just says, okay, you're done. So the thing is, 6.5 used to be the latest version, but now there are later versions. And if I have a virtual project on Gradle 6.6, this block will not execute, but it should. And that's why I built the entire semantic version, pretty much. So what we're going to do is we have this method here, should ignore if Gradle block. So we have, I want to see, when the given Gradle requirement is null, or if the requirement is not fulfilled by the block, ignore it. And here's my to-do. semantic check should catch 6.6 as well. Let's remove that because we're doing it now. So target Gradle version is the one from the project that I'm using. So this version should be greater than the compared value. So let's see. So I create semantic version objects for my target. And also the version that I found in the template file. And if the compared value is greater than or equal to what I am working with, then I should ignore it. That's weird. That's formulated really weird. Hold on. So I should ignore it if... Yes, I should ignore it if in the template it says 6.5, but I only have 6.4. In that case, the 6.5 is greater than my 6.4, meaning that I should ignore this if Gradle block. Okay, I think this is it, honestly. Let's see. Would be nice. So I have my integration tests here. And this is the code that spawns the virtual projects. And I have disabled it for now because it didn't work. Now I'm going to re-enable it and I'm going to run it on Android Gradle plugin 4.2. This is a version where I know that Gradle 6.6 is used. I'm going to run this now. I'm going to take another bathroom break because this test is going to take a while. And when I come back, we're going to hopefully see a green arrow, and then I'm happy ending the stream at that point. If not, then I'm unhappy ending the stream, but let's see how it goes. See this here on the left? That's a green arrow. That makes me a happy man. Yeah, it does look like it actually works. So you can see that I log something for the virtual projects. I log the Android Gradle plugin, which is 4.2.0 Alpha 10. This test is working with the project blueprint named product flavors. And I'm forcing Gradle version 6.6.1 here. And this used to not work because the build script couldn't be processed. Okay, let's hope that the last projects also go through, but I think they should. I'm not sure if anything in the last canaries updated in the last alpha versions. Speaking of which, I could just upgrade this. There's newer versions. I always try to check the very, very latest cutting edge versions. All right, let's make this run a bit. Let's see. My machine is chugging hard. Let's see, because these tests are pretty heavyweight. Because I'm testing my project, so I run the build system and do things, and that alone is a lot of work. for the machine. And then the test itself, it spawns another build system inside for every test, and then it runs that because we do need different versions and stuff. So it's a lot of heavy load running these functional tests, which is also why I cannot run them on CI, which is very annoying. But I always make sure to run them when I upgrade the dependencies of the plugins. So I want to see what are the latest versions of the Android Gradle plugin. Yeah, so 4.2.0 Alpha 12 is the newest one. Then we have 4.1.0 RC3, and then nothing below that. I want to check if I'm using 4.1.0 RC3 and Alpha 12 already. Alright, let's see. Is it done? It is done. Wow, product flavors took a lot of time. But yeah, it did work. Welcome back to Flora. You missed the fascinating math of multiplying 3 numbers together and calling it a semantic version. But it does have the effect of making my test suite for integration tests work again. So that's nice. I can finally test the very latest versions of the integration points where I'm sitting in between. I just need to let's do another build party here. So I want to update. Where is it? Oh, here. Okay, yeah. So these are all the versions that the plugin works with. So we have Android Gradle plugin 3.5, 3.6, 4.0, 4.1, and 4.2. And I am using 4.1.0 RC3 already, which is the latest revision of that particular branch, I suppose. We can see that here. I cannot highlight it here. But at the top here for 4.2, there's another alpha. So let us just briefly update that to this. Let's see if they require a newer Gradle already. Alright, let's sync. And then wait. And wait some more, and then we hopefully have our answer. Well, I dreamt that I saved the dying kitty, so I did something good too, I think. Hell yeah. Let's all save dying kitties. We all accomplished something today, isn't that nice? Alright, yeah, Gradle sync will take a while. And then I'm going to run the entire test suite. All the unit tests at once. And that should hopefully yield all green. Oh, I do need to disable this filter again. I use that for development sometimes, but now I do want all the functional tests to run again. Alright, it finished syncing, and let's wait some more. Maybe pull this up so we can experience the greatness of Gradle build speeds together. While listening to the sick beats of Pretzel Rocks, which is actually a kind of cool service. I learned about that from Leland. It's a I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's like a streaming, like a music streaming service for streamers. It's pretty cool. So you can like copyright free music with like different like feelings and genres and whatnot. Did I tell you guys I have a new job? Hell yeah! Congratulations. I take it you're a web dev now. At least that's the last I heard. Oh no, okay. Well, it's like the Germans say, what is not may yes still be. There you go. It's my wise words for the day. Theater, okay. That's cool. It's like a play theater or a movie theater. Actually, let me switch to the face cam preset in my OBS while we do this thing. Oh, that's really cool. I don't know what a stage manager does, but it sounds important. Yeah, sounds like a Java class to me, just like a stage manager, just like a 2D game kind of thing. Just call the stage manager. No, but that's really cool. Yeah, I do functions now. Well, yeah, I suppose there are some gatherings. That's clever. Alright, I'm not sure if my machine can handle OBS and the full extent of my integration tests at the same time. I'm not sure. I'll give it one more shot. Yeah, something did not meet expectations. Oh, it was release up to date. What? That's odd. Shouldn't have been up to date. Hold on. Especially with this old version. Like this, I'm not trusting this test failure here. Right, yeah, I'll give it one more clean build. We have seen that adding the semantic version to the if Gradle statements worked, so I think that's okay. So, Mr. Streamer, I wanted to ask if you're interested in checking out the new Mafia Trilogy release. I am excited to maybe get the definitive edition of Mafia 1. Not sure if they come in a bundle, I didn't know that. But it looked cool. I try not to approach it too much through the eyes of somebody who has like nostalgia goggles and says like, oh, but I want Joe Pesci's voice, you know? But it did look really nice, and I still think that the original Mafia had one of my favorite storylines, like growing up anyway, from the games I played. So yeah, I'm not sure. I just bought Nier Automata because it was on sale, and I also bought Final Fantasy 15 again because I sold my old copy. So that's like 200 hours of gameplay that I just bought. So I'm not sure if I can jump into Mafia straight away, but yeah, maybe in future. Nostalgia goggles make me happy, so I'm fine having him on. Yeah, me too. Oh, I didn't know they sold them outside of the trilogy as well, but yeah, they do. €40 for the first game, definitive edition, bundle 60. That's a good deal for the bundle then. I think I do own Mafia 2 on Steam or something. Alright, yeah, I think these integration. Oh, well, I spoke too soon. It literally just started. Okay, let me just not touch my mouse then. I was just about to say that they're probably too heavy for my machine with streaming at the same time, but let's leave them be. Let's see. Fortunately, I cannot run them in parallel because that would be too much, even if OBS was not running. But yeah, these work through now. So we're working through Android Gradle plugin 3.5, and then 3.6, 4.0, 4.1, 4.2. And then, like, I don't know, a couple hundred of other related things that aren't necessarily related to Android Gradle plugin. Versions, anyway. So if I'm dropping frames right now, it's all because of this thing here on the left. But it actually looks okay looking at the statistics in OBS. I just dropped 269 frames over 2.5 hours. With my connection, I'm happy that that's the case. Yeah, I'm actually streaming at 30. I'm sure you've noticed. I didn't trust my internet connection to handle full HD at 60 FPS. So sorry. This is just a mediocre MacBook webcam type beat right now. This is the average Gradle build times type beat right now. did try to hook up a DSLR today. But for one didn't support it, and for the other I didn't have the correct USB, because it's supposed to be universal, right? And that's why there's like a lot of standards. So this is just MacBook webcam right now. Maybe next time. Thanks, Tiflora, I appreciate it. I feel like I could do a lot more in the camera quality in general. So I might just chop in like the $10 or whatever for a USB cable with which I can just like connect my actual DSLR to this, which would probably make the quality like much better, because alas, this is a MacBook and webcams are not the things that sell those. Alright, so we've reached Android Gradle plugin 4.1, and you can see why I don't run this on CI, because it takes forever. And it's also too memory intensive, so the containers just like throw out of memory all over the place every time. That's why I don't bother anymore. I just run it manually. Not the best approach, but yeah, it's the one that makes me not pay anything to the CI, and still it kind of works. Okay, this is interesting. So we have a build failure on 4.1, and it looks related to the actual like semantic version thing. It looks to be the same area, which is weird because we're forcing Gradle 6.5 and it is claiming that it didn't pass the if Gradle statement. Hold on. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is custom build type 4.1. Yeah, this is indeed weird. This did actually emit the else branch. This did emit this one here. Even though we have if Gradle 6.5. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me... Wait, okay, let me go back to this expression here. I found this, the phrasing of this weird earlier, so maybe this comparison is probably wrong. So, should ignore if Gradle block. If my target is 0, I'm not forcing any Gradle on this virtual project, then I just return true. First up, is that correct? Yes, because it's the lowest common denominator, and that is 6.1 for this project. Okay. Otherwise, I go here and I create my target Gradle, that's 6.5, and I compare it against what's written in the template, which is also 6.5. If that thing is greater or equal to, yeah, it shouldn't be equal to. Like if I have 6.5 in my virtual project, then when I process this instruction, this matches. This matches 6.5 and above. But this thing makes it so it's actually greater than 6.5. So like 6.5.1 and above. So it should just be this. The compared value in the template should be actually really bigger than what I have forced. If this thing should be ignored. Yeah, I think this is it. Which is annoying because we've waited 8.5 minutes to get to this conclusion. I'm gonna leave this at that. We're at around 2.5 hours now, and I think I'm gonna wind down for the day. I'm gonna run these tests just like after, like in parallel right now, after I'm closing down the stream. And then, yeah, I'm not sure. There's a couple other things that I would want to explore with Android JUnit 5 at the moment. There's been a couple things that are on the back burner of my idea box. And they had to be put on hold because of other commitments. So I might do something, and also something that's probably a bit more interesting, quote unquote, interesting in the sense that you'd find it exciting if you write test libraries, I suppose. But I want to write some more extension points for running tests on specific flavors of Android. So I can just briefly outline this. Let me go. Where is this? Oh, this is actually a completely different project, so I cannot even open this easily in the IDE here. So let me pull it up through Finder. Hold on. So basically, there's a plugin which we're applying, and that allows you to write unit tests which run on your machine, on the Mac here. It's also possible to use JUnit 5 to run tests on an actual Android device, so like an actual phone running tests in the Android environment. And we have built some mechanisms that help with building this kind of thing. So for instance, we have these things here. So you can annotate a test method that you have. You can say, only run this test if the executing device is made by Samsung, for instance. Or this one would be, do not run it if it is made by, I don't know, LG. And there's a couple different flavors here. We have something that's like, only run this test if your SDK, like the Android SDK, is of version, whatever, 24 or above. And that means only run the test on Android 8 or newer. And then older devices would ignore that test. So these things we already have. I want to add some more for different device categories. So like, only run this on Android Auto, only run this on Android Wear, these kinds of things. So that's one of the projects that I wanted to tackle in the future. So maybe that's something that I'm gonna be streaming as well. Might as well do it, if otherwise I'm just gonna sit on the couch and do it by myself. So yeah, maybe that's something. I had a lot of fun, and OBS is installed and set up now, so might as well do that. Alright, I just heard about Weekend Wednesday. Instead of 2 days off on Saturday and Sunday, you move the Saturday weekend to Wednesday. Huh. That's cool. Not sure if that will fly with the freelance clients that I work for. I am assuming that they would want me at my desk Wednesday at 6 a.m. So I'm not sure if that's gonna work for me, but do give it a try and report back. Sounds interesting. I do like concepts for like alternative, like off the cuff, no, not off the cuff, but outside the 40-hour week norm. I do like concepts for that. All right then. I would hang out in future streams, maybe even do some dev too. That's cool. Yeah, let's do it. I was inspired to do this stream because there's a Googler. His name's Leland, and he's working on a new compiler for a new UI toolkit for Android, for like the next generation of UI toolkits, and it's highly exciting work. Like he's working on the compiler. And then on other days, he's working on a like sample app where he tries out the things that his compiler can do, or like his team's compiler can do. So that sort of thing inspired me to like maybe do some development that I would have done anyway and just publicize it. So yeah, definitely. I'm down for more streaming. Should have more streams in general. All right, I'm gonna wind down for the day. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.